So, when I said last episode, give me Gunpla or give me death, what I actually meant was I'm going to be reviewing a bunch of Gunpla-based shows. So, here comes the first of three. Back to this.
Before we get into Gundam Build Fighters properly, I should first hit this little OVA called Model Suit Gunpla Builders Beginning G, which is kind of a prototype for that show. Conceptually, it's the same thing as Build Fighters, but we'll get into that a little later. Released in 2010 to celebrate 30 years of Gundam plastic model kits being on the market, Gunpla Builders Beginning G is as much about the hobby as it is the fighting. This can pose a bit of a problem because there's not a whole ton of room for characters after all the hobby stuff and all the fighting. Adding additional problems is the fact that the show itself is 3 15-minute episodes. This may be a bit of a bumpy ride, kids. So what exactly are Gunpla kits? Well, there's a whole episode of Gundam Retrospective that covers this, but here's the Cliff's Notes version. Gunpla is the largest, broadest model kit line on the planet, and features kits for builders of all ages. The standard kit starts at 1 to 1/44 scale, which brings the 18-meter tall machine down to about 12.5 centimeters, or roughly 5 inches. They require no painting, and the kits are good to go without any additional work or gluing, and are posable to a ridiculous extent for something the size of a standard action figure. Unless otherwise noted, the machines in this show are the high-grade or HG kits. They go bigger from 1/100th scale to 1/60th scale, but they're not touched upon in this series. The story opens in Odaiba, where the 1:1 scale model of the original Gundam stands watch. Hey, just between you and me, I've got good money on that thing actually being a working mobile suit. You know, just in case. A young boy named Haru sees it for the first time and is overcome with the need to consume Gundam kits. Granted, if it was me, I'd probably try climbing in the damn thing, so I think he probably made the better call. He and his buddy Kenta are super hyped to get some kits at the kiosk just outside of it, but they manage to run out of the Gundam kit that he wants to buy, so he ends up getting the Beginning Gundam instead. What is the Beginning Gundam? Well, it's the specialized mobile suit that they created just for this show, because you don't make a show about a product without making a product for the show, you know? So like any good beginning nerd, he takes it home and slaps that puppy together. And I kind of mean slap. It'll become clearer later on. While Haru is building, we're introduced to the next character, a young lady named Rina. She's a weird blend of girly and tomboyish, and I know that probably doesn't sound odd to you and yours, but this is a modern anime. Either your women are hot or cold. She pops in to see what Haru is doing, and he basically continues to build his model kit. If I was him, I'd probably do the same thing, and that's probably why I didn't get laid in high school. Regardless of any of that, he gets his kit together, and is immediately dragged off to fight using the Beginning Gundam by Kenta, his buddy, and Rina. Well there, we get to see just how the whole operation goes down, from the pilot suits to the hotshot players, the fangirls, when one Koji Matsumoto shows up to challenge Haru to a Gunpla battle. This is like getting started with Street Fighter V and immediately trying to get into Evo. To make matters worse, he's got a whole team, and thanks to Rina's big fucking mouth, now Haru is playing to keep possession of his own model. Cherchez la femme indeed. Apparently the Beginning Gundam is somehow hard to find, which doesn't seem to be the case if a quick Amazon search is any indication, but what the hell do I know? So now Haru's in the shit because he's got a crew that wants to throw down. If your posse gets you into crap like this, get a new posse. Luckily, some of the guys from the shop join in so he doesn't get wombo-comboed into oblivion. If you're noticing that I'm using a lot of fighting game community terminology here, it's because that's a pretty simple comparison to make. There's relatively high stakes here, and there's a good chance that you're just going to get wrecked your first time out. Sure, it's about heart and loving your models and all that, but skill does have a big factor to it. Regardless, they make a grand effort to make it feel like you're actually in the Gundam show, and that makes me really, really wish I had one of these pods available. Sadly, the other thing that you'll see that should remind you of Gundam is that the artwork sometimes gets a little fuzzy. But it also does a whole lot of really cool stuff with it. For example, a Dom gets shot in the arm, and the arm still hangs onto the bazooka right here. That's so clever, because if there's one thing that I've noticed about building models is that if your shoulder joint goes, your arm is still going to hang on to whatever weapon it's holding, and it's going to look real silly. So once Haru goes up against Koji in a one-on-one match, shit starts to hit the fan real hard. See, that whole angelic layer mentality works great to a point, wherein care and affection that you put into your models is a big factor. but experience and better build quality is still a bit more important. Additionally, Haru's kit isn't put together very well, and it falls apart under the strain of real combat. While Koji gives an Asamar the old car wash with his fin funnels, Haru channels his inner Masamune Date and goes all Wolverine on him. Defeated by his own hubris, Koji finds himself tangled up, and Haru makes his first kill. Unfortunately, before he can really savor the victory, some asshole in sunglasses comes in and kicks his dick in. Now, forgetting for a moment the real question of who the fuck is this guy, it should be noted that the Gunpla Meister has a good point when he gives Haru a dressing down about his shit modeling skills. It should also be noted that this is the first time that Haru's built one in his life, so no duh, it looks like crap. This Gunpla Meister, named Boris for whatever reason, completely takes Haru to school without much in the way of lenience or gentleness. This is kind of like Manny Pacquiao telling you you're a shitty boxer because you just stepped into the ring. Haru's friends know it too, but man, let me tell you, losing sucks. So all his friends jump in and want to build models with him like a good running crew should. What follows is a how-to guide on how to do Gunpla. But you know, the heart is in the right place for this series. It's not really about winning or losing, it's about doing something fun with your friends and sharing something real that you're all up in. Apparently it's also about making bad puns. The Byaku Shiki? Oh, that's a deep cut. So, now armed with their new kits, Kenta and Haru go back to battle, this time against a super customized Zaku. This is where the show gets real cool visually, but real dull critically, because they spend a whole chunk of the next 2 episodes just beating the hell out of each other. While this is super awesome, it's also not much to really talk about, so thanks for the B-roll. Haru gets new parts in for his model, and whoa, hey, his mom is really hot. Wait, what was I on about? Oh, right. They sign on for a tournament, and then Haru is all, haha, gotta build, what's time mean again? But hey, the Sazabi gets some love, so I can't complain about the really obvious last-second save that he makes. But when he does hit the field, everyone gets to show off what they got, and that includes the bear guy. Silly as it may sound. In the end, he gets to take on the Gunpla Meister once again, and finally determine who's the better player. However, no one really knows who won. Because again, it's not about victory, it's about the hobby, and it's about having fun. And it's about showing off your skills and joining with a big community that also does the same thing. It doesn't really say much profound about the nature of things, but it does manage to capture the fun of these sorts of hobbies when you really get into the competitive scene, and when you find somebody who can really push you to your limits as a player. Maybe it's a little mushy, but you know what? Who cares? This is fun. So I will say that this is very much in the vein of Gundam Build Fighters, like I noted before. The characters are very similar to the ones in the second season, and the concepts presented are pretty much one-to-one. The Gundam pods that they're using in the pilot suits are a lot more low-tech, so to speak, than the ones that they use in Build Fighters, which is probably okay because the stuff in Build Fighters basically runs on magic, and this is a little bit more serious. But at the same time, I think that this look was cute, but going whole hog with it would have kind of been obnoxious after a while. This one has more affection for the UC stuff, whereas Build Fighters and Build Fighters Try work a lot more with the other Gundam series that came afterwards. And even the Gunpla Meister is very similar to the Meijin from Build Fighters. It's really rare to see what is essentially the prototype for a similar show be made entirely public. So what can I really say about this show other than good luck finding it? This one never hit stateside, and maybe that's alright. The thing of it is, while this is a cute little OVA where you can have a chuckle and go about your day with it, it's probably a little too rough for people who are new to Gundam to get the full breadth of it. The animation goes sour a bit too much for my liking, the designs are cool, but they're not exactly get this kit immediately, and it really doesn't have much in the way of strong characters or conclusions. But hey, it's all good in the hood. It's a nice little diversion if you're sitting here like waiting for your ordered copy of Build Fighters to arrive. Now available from Nozomi Entertainment.
Speaking of waiting around for good things, this is far from my first Gunpla, but I think it'll have to just hold me over until I finally build one of those cool CG pods. So, next time we'll take a look at the actual Gundam Build Fighters. See you next time.